Hey there everybody, here with a quick video on painting Necrons, because painting Necrons is easy, but putting them together is a bit of a pain. So let's get into it. Okay, so I've actually based the whole model in just a flat black from Vallejo, and I've given these power blades a coat of Caliban green. Now I'm using the airbrush to blow in some pastel green. I'm using the airbrush just because it's smoother and a little faster, but you can use a dry brush if you want to, or you can glaze it in. And then I'm mixing in some Flash Gits yellow as I go, just brightening up and getting smaller and smaller towards the centre. And then right at the end, I'm using some titanium white ink just to get the very centre points of this sort of glowing power blade. Again, you can do this with a brush, it'll take you a little bit longer, but the airbrush just really saves on the time. Then once I'm done with that, I'm shooting all of those areas with vivid lime green ink from Liquitex, and it gives you this beautiful, beautiful, vivid, glowing blade. A little bit of overspray isn't the end of the world on some of those areas. Now, for the crystals and for the armor areas, where he's on his shoulder panels and some on the little scarab at the bottom, I've got an equal mix of Caliban green and Celestium blue, just so it flows into those crevices, and it's not too blue and it's not too green. It's very dark with that sort of bluish green hue. Then I'm using Ulthuan grey to get all of these little orbs, but also the face mask of the scarab at the bottom, and also on the Necron himself. Then I'm using fluo green from Vallejo to paint all those little orbs. Now with the Ulthuan grey, I gave it 2 coats in the areas where I wanted it to be pure white, but anywhere that was going to end up being an orb, I only gave it 1 coat. And what that means is I get this cloudy effect underneath the fluo green that really stands out. Then my new favourite thing is black panel liner, and as you can see here, I'm just dropping it into these little recesses, and it flows beautifully into those spaces, especially around the eyes, and really gives you a pop of contrast. Then Zakorax bronze for all these metal fins, scales. They're not tau, they're not fins, are they? I'm going inside, underneath, make sure I get all the areas that I want to be covered in this lovely metal. Not quite gold, not quite silver, more aged bronze. And I'm getting very carefully into the centre part of his weapon. As you can see there, I've done other areas on his face mask and his tabard. Oops, a bit of a drop there. And the end of his weapon itself. Just very carefully getting onto those areas there. And then giving this a nice heavy wash in Agrax Earthshade. Now the reason I'm not using Null Null here, because I want it to seem just a little bit dirty. It's got that ancient, earthy feel. And it's a nice heavy wash of Agrax Earthshade all over those areas. This spine I'm painting dark aluminium. And then I'll give that a wash of Null Null. So there you see, dark aluminium into the spine on the Necron himself. And I'm not painting any of the other parts of him because I want this to be as flat as possible, and we'll bring it to life in a second with some Necron compound. Then I'm using some flat black from Vallejo just to pull out some of the details inside here in the middle. Gives it a nice bit of contrast and gives you that glowing from the centre feel, because it's actually casting shadows against itself. There we go, just very carefully touching all those little areas. And now the base I've actually painted in Mechanicus Standard Grey. Unfortunately I didn't get that on video, and I'm giving it a fairly generous but not too generous dry brushing around the edges of Leviathan Purple. And that purple just really pops nicely against the colours that we've already got in the model. And I've also used the dark aluminium there, as you can see on parts of the base, which I then painted in Dirty Down Rust. Now I'm using Necron compound, giving it a dry brush all over the model, but I'm paying more attention to the edges obviously, and some of the areas where I would end up with more wear and tear. So the edges of the armour plates where you might have come into contact with things and brushed up against them or had a bit of impact. And then all over all the metal. The only area I'm avoiding with that is the white and where the power orbs are. Then it's just Vallejo black for the edge, and that's really all there is to it. Necrons, like I say, pretty simple to paint and get really good and effective, because you don't want too much in there, but you get all that contrast from those lovely power weapons. And there he is, spinning around and looking absolutely fantastic. Like and subscribe. See you in the next one.